Hey guys, what's up? It's Slaw, coming back to ya with another episode of Walks with Slaw. Today is the first episode of Wednesday, November 26th. And I still, as a continuation from this morning's terrible car rides with Slaw, feel kind of, I don't know, a little bit off. There is some excitement. There is some, excited energy about just, tomorrow being Thanksgiving. I tend to try to extract as much joy as possible from upcoming events. So in that sense, I'm okay with things. But in another sense, I don't know that I really like holidays that much. I think when I became a teenager and I started to think about it and try to rationalize it, I just didn't really see a point. Like, it seemed kind of silly, the whole concept. And I think I've mellowed out my tone on that perspective. I obviously understand it's good to have breaks or holidays, but I guess a part of me is kind of that optimization, like, well, what's really the point? And what if humans just didn't need breaks and we could do so much more, we could be so much better? And I think that's how my brain thinks. And the truth is that's only hypothetically true, because we know that a lot of times, like, having these cultural rituals tend to be very healthy, and it's necessary for a brain to go through a break stage, right? So we're aware of that, and I am still hypothetically correct. I mean, if we were some kind of alien species, or everybody had the same bandwidth, same high bandwidth, it is possible we could just exist without breaks and things like that. Like, it's possible. It's definitely possible. So I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just a thing. It's just a thing, really. But I also kind of realized at first I thought that I was kind of holding the superior position when I was a teenager. Like, when I would say, oh, we just shouldn't have holidays, I thought that was that had some edge to it. It had some bite to it. I almost think nowadays that's like inverted. It's almost, for somebody to genuinely get into the holiday spirit is actually rare. Like, that actually has more bite to it. It's more uncommon. It's more unusual in this day and age to actually properly get into the holiday spirit. I think another problem is just the secularization of holidays. Not even to get into particular religions, but I just think holidays having like a deeper meaning, or a spiritual, like, deeper purpose, a mystical purpose to them, is far more infatuating for me. And so I guess now that I'm older, I would like holidays if it was more religious, almost more ritualistic. But that obviously just isn't how holidays go. Holidays in America, and really anywhere now, they're very secular. They are, just like that. And so there's kind of a highlight to Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is probably one of the final frontiers for the most morally acceptable holiday. I think every other holiday is kind of drowned out by a bunch of businesses trying to siphon as much money out of your bank accounts as possible. I mean, we could really go down the line in that regard. I literally think every single other holiday pretty much is like that. So Thanksgiving is theoretically the most noble of holidays, as it has like a higher purpose to it. But I don't know that I can't really figure out. I'd actually like to do more research to see if it aligned with any ancient spiritual kind of thing, but I don't think it does. I think it was just like a fully American, very modern thing, and I guess that is where it kind of loses me, because I don't like that. Like, I don't think we should just make up holidays that aren't that significant just for ourselves. Like, I think we should be celebrating like ancient traditions and things that are proven, or like continuing things, like new holidays that aren't all that deep. I guess they just don't really impress me too much. You know what I mean? They just don't. And I guess that's kind of why, like, I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. I think Halloween, that's kind of what's interesting about Halloween, even though it's fairly ominous, is there obviously is like a very long-term, deeper meaning to it, but we don't get, that's not really like a federal holiday. Would be kind of interesting if it was, though. You know, if we had kind of that. I would actually like that, though. Like, I know it's important to keep, I guess, the separation of church and state. Like, you don't really want to have like a religious government, but I really think it would be cool if it was just more like, well, there's going to be disagreement about that anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of people in America that don't even like to celebrate Halloween. So if we had like a federal holiday honoring it, when it's something that has like these deep tradition roots, it's I don't think that would go over well, you know, especially if we started having like all these spiritual holidays. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I don't really know why every major, like, there's some that I'm not even super familiar with, but really, like, for all the religions, obviously there's like specific days that we could have off for. It just gets, people would just get into an argument. But I don't know. I think if a day is particularly significant, then I don't really see why it shouldn't be a federal holiday. Like, you know, obviously it doesn't have to be like every little thing that each religion does, but, you know, we do have Christmas off, and that is like honoring a Christian holiday. So I don't know, like, why would we not just do it for other religions as well? Like, just because they're not. See, but I guess that's when you're getting into the way my brain is working, which, you know, I would really like to understand all of these beliefs, or sort of think you could combine them, although that might not be possible. But I do think there tends to be a decent amount of moral overlap. That'd kind of be my consensus. Like, there's obviously so much fighting about different religious differences, but I don't really think that oftentimes there's that much difference between what's objectively morally accurate or not. And so I don't know. I don't know how much that matters. And it's the whole question of, you know, is a person granted salvation for worshiping the wrong God? And if God would have mercy on that, like, even if the person is doing the right thing and walking a straight path, but just what if they follow the wrong religion? I mean, it's kind of tricky stuff. I don't know. Like, I would want to think that God is not that, like, strict or cruel, but I guess it's possible. I'm I wouldn't know. But it's just like, I don't know, I think about these things, and I would really want a society that resonates with these serious, deeper things. And I guess in that sense, more ritual, maybe we need more holidays, more ritual celebrations that would align with, you know, all the major religions and even older kind of traditional honored days. Because, yeah, I don't know. I just don't really see how that would be a problem. Like, I don't see how that would be like a bad thing for society. Um, yeah, I just don't. I mean, if you have people have day offs, yeah, it's like, so what? Some stuff would ship a little slower. It's really not that big of a deal. I think, like, for the health of the people in whatever country it is, even if it wasn't America, if this is just like a hypothetical country, I'm certain that the mental health of the population would be higher with more holidays. We probably don't have enough federal holidays in America. And like I said, I actually think it's another thing I'm fairly ahead of the curve on, because as America becomes more, inevitably, it's just going to become more multicultural. It doesn't really matter, even if, like, I think both the left and the right are inevitably becoming more multicultural, despite how much the right likes to project maybe more of a traditionalist view. I still think multiculturalism is just going into all the political movements for the most part, and that's just the way it is. So I have a feeling the thing I'm talking about is actually going to become a more relevant debate as time goes on, especially if we're on a good timeline where they start to think about how, like, workers are treated more, and how, you know, having more holidays would just be a net positive for the majority of people. It absolutely would be. And yeah, you know, I mean, you don't have to go overboard, but we definitely could have like a few more federal holidays. I don't really think that would be that big of a deal. It's probably a good idea, and it would be a good idea for people to maybe study into some of these more significant, deeper days, right? Like, a lot of people, they have a type of, but see, I mean, nobody cares about this, you know? It's like, it would be great if people did, but obviously a lot of people are just, they're fighting along their tribe's line. They're not really interested in learning a whole lot or really having their mind open. Like, I really want to get into some of these people's brains and get my hands and start squishing around in there. You know, open the skull up and reach in and you know, really squish it and try to open it up, you know, try to release some of the brain, and you know, hopefully then no, I can't help myself. I obviously not literally, but it would be a cool thing to do. So yeah, I guess that's my thoughts of Thanksgiving, is just reaching into people, you know, cutting people's skulls open and reaching into their brains and squishing it around and all kinds of interesting stuff, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why do nobody think this way? It's actually, I mean, it's something I'm conflicted about, but I guess the older I get, I am grateful for thinking the way I think, but I'm very out of tune with how I guess you have to think, you know, in terms of being defensive, being aggressive, like fighting for your survival is much more important, you know? I'm not really able to do that very well. There's plenty of people that, you know, they're more animalistic and it really helps them in this reality. And then the other thing I'm obviously worried about at this point is being given this mind and the amount of extra, maybe God has like a heavier hammer for me. And that's obviously kind of stressful to think about, because it would be much easier to just be somebody who is, not speaking and putting all this like vocals and language out there. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Obviously, I don't want to be spreading any harmful beliefs or things like that. So there's a lot of weight and responsibility to being a speaker, because I know this is my path at this point. I mean, at least it's fairly likely, because we've pretty much been doing this for half a year now. We're talking a lot. We're posting a lot of content. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of significance to that, right? It's not usual that somebody would be able to pull off what I'm doing, especially since it just kind of happened, and then now I've been rolling with it, and then I never thought Walk Switch Law would even be a thing, and now it is. I mean, there's just been so much, there's been so much change that's occurred in this year. This year has been a pretty crazy year for me. I'm still hemming and hawing about the keyboard. Because on one hand, I just want to buy it to get it out of my system. But on the other hand, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't really know that I want to do it. I'm kind of reaching a point where, I don't want to indulge. Heading into 2026, which will be a year of winter, essentially, for myself. Like, I don't want to indulge. It's just not something that I want to do. I feel bad about doing it, and I don't think it's going to matter either way, but I guess I'm just documenting my thoughts about it, because yeah, I don't know, but I'm very close to just buying it to get it over with, because I just want to move on. And it's been him and hawing, nagging me for this long, and it's a nice little final treat right before where I basically wanted to stop, because I pretty much wanted to stop buying things by December, because December is like, obviously I mean technically I would have until January, but December is obviously I like to kind of buffer things out. So again, even once 2027's over, I'm going to try to keep this streak up as much as possible. Like, I'd want it to go until probably, I don't know, just as long as possible. And I mean, I might want to make it through halfway through 2027. I don't really know, though. It all depends. But I'd at least want to make it through like February. That's kind of my vague idea, having these like buffer months, like fully starting by December and then fully out of it by February of 2027, not just like, the crack of January 1st. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like trying to have those 2 buffer months. But I think the real goal, it would be like an 18-month period. I do think that would be like the ideal scenario, interestingly enough. I don't know. That's just how I feel, like the whole buffer month. But I like the idea of like an 18-month period. So it's kind of what we're going for. But yeah, in terms of today, I have a hunch it's gonna feel a bit sluggish at some point. Like, I don't really know. That's just my hunch. and I guess that remains to be seen, but it's actually gone relatively fast up until this point, so I can't really complain all that much, right? Because it hasn't been like slow by any means. We're already through the first third of the day, so there's only 2 more thirds left. So, see how things go, I guess. But yeah, I guess we did get some communication, and just trying to balance and figure out a lot of these ideas that I'm thinking of. And you know, there's a lot to consider about what is the truth and trying to do the right thing. To me, it doesn't feel like a clear answer. It feels like something that really is going to take a lot of bandwidth, and some people may think it's simple, but I just don't think that's the case. And in my case, it's a little bit stressful because, like I said, I don't know if God has a larger eye on me or a heavier hammer towards me because of the brain I've been given. Like, I don't know, there is probably some extra pressure there. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot. And it's been a lot too getting used to, I mean, it's been a gift getting used to my speaking. You know, I finally have I always felt like an artist but didn't really have the outlet for it. At least now I have that outlet. So it's pretty interesting, you know, that I've made it this far and stuff. And it's all been, I don't know, at least I can tell people now, my thing, I like to talk, you know, it's good. It's all good. It's all just a good situation. So, but I am feeling a bit tired still, this morning, and I don't know, it could get kind of annoying to make it through the home stretch as the day goes on, but I guess that remains to be seen. So anyways, it's been slaw, but now it's time to buy slaw. So see ya, slaw.